I am so excited to welcome you to Envision Evanston 2045, a process where we are going to overhaul our comprehensive plan, rewrite our zoning code, and really collectively make a determination about what the city of Evanston is going to look like and how we're going to grow for the next 20 years. This is the chance to get it right, to make decisions that are going to give us the Evanston that we want over the course of the next generation, but we can only do that if everyone's voice is heard, if everyone's at the table. So I'm asking you to be a part of this process because together we can build the Evanston that we deserve.
I love that Evanston is a community filled with passionate people with dedication in areas like gardening and climate and bike riding and education and health and well-being for all.
What I love about Evanston is the size of community. Everybody seems to know everyone, and we work together.
What I love about Evanston is that we have the social and political will to advance radical, in some cases, social, racial justice, and equity initiatives, including reparations.
I love that Evanston is very, very community-based and focused on bringing people together from all walks of life.
What I love about Evanston is how walkable it is and how close the community is.
As a corporate environment, safety, and sustainability leader, and also someone who wants to serve the community, I've joined the City of Evanston Environment Board, and that is to support our goals of reducing climate change, improving the health of our people in our community, and protecting our natural resources and resource systems in the community.
So Wendy and I are working to improve Evanston. We're part of a Church and Diocese district. We're doing a lot of work with other businesses in the community. We also own and operate C&W Ventures, which provides apartment and commercial space. And with that, we're trying to give an opportunity for businesses to grow, to thrive, to do more that provides services that are needed in that space.
I'm working to be a catalyst for other Asian American voices in our community. And I'm hoping to be a champion for the arts as a vehicle for change in our city.
Everyone should be involved in the process because this is the place where we live. We have 80,000 plus residents, and the more voices that we hear, the more comprehensive that this plan can be.
I think it's very important for the community to get involved with envisioning Evanston 2045. With zoning, it informs what we can do in the community, how we live, how we work, how we play, and how we grow, and how we invest.
If we care about both our climate and our health and our business community, we need to make our voices heard, that we make sure that we incorporate all of the aspects of the Climate Action and Resilience Plan in our Evanston that we envision for 2040.
This plan, but more importantly, the process is important because it allows a new opportunity for all of Evanston to be heard in who we will be as a community 20 years from now. So it's important because we can design our city with our values and our new commitments to racial justice, environmental justice, climate justice, and so on. We can do that hearing from the community at large.
Well, good evening. I love y'all, but that wasn't the vibe I was envisioning. Good evening. There we go. There we go. I am so delighted to welcome so many people to the inaugural event where we begin a robust community engagement process for Envision Evanston 2045. Before I say anything else, I want to acknowledge my elected official colleagues who are with us this evening. City Council members Chrissy Harris and Eleanor Revelle. And City Clerk Stephanie Mendoza. We are in a room full of community leaders and dignitaries, city staff who put in a tremendous amount of time to make this evening and this whole project a success. If I start naming one, I'm going to get myself in monumental amounts of trouble, so I won't enter into that morass, but just simply say an enormous thank you to all. I will also say that I wasn't sure going into this evening how full a room we'd have. I was a little anxious as I walked up from the second floor to the third floor. I was a little anxious as I walked from the third floor to the fourth floor. I became less anxious as I neared the top half of that last staircase because I began to hear a delightful murmur, and as I rounded the corner, I heard a roar, and I'm just ecstatic to see so many people here. Y'all are at the very beginning of the curve, and we are delighted to have your participation tonight, and we are asking you to bring a friend next time, to bring a friend who can bring a friend the time after that, because we are embarking on a project that really requires all community input. One last housekeeping note on that front. Thank you to those who are joining us via Zoom. My understanding is that there is a technical issue with the chat in the Zoom, sentence no one's ever heard before, I'm sure. And so if you're having trouble giving written input on the Zoom, just go to envisionevanston2045.com, where we're taking, starting now and going on throughout this process, written input. So whether you're in the Zoom at home now, frustrated that you can't put your comment in, or you're just in the audience thinking about what you want to do at your 9:30 a.m. web browsing tomorrow, envisionevanston2045.com will be a hub for information and input and opinion gathering on this project. Okay, so here is why I am so excited about this project. We in this building, we on city council, and we in this community find ourselves again and again and again and again talking about the same critical issues that are what we care about most, they're what motivate us most, and they're what, if we can truly address them, will give us the Evanston that we really want. Those issues are affordable housing. Those issues are sustainability and climate action. Those issues are economic vitality and a thriving group of local small businesses. Those issues are public health and community connectedness, and those issues are racial justice. And sitting at the center of those conversations is this process that we are embarking on. A process that may not be in its jargon as motivating as some of the words I just said to some of our neighbors. I don't usually find myself on a block party being asked about a comprehensive plan or a zoning code. No, I'm asked about racial justice and affordable housing. But if we care about those issues, we got to fix our zoning code, and we have to have a comprehensive plan that creates a roadmap for success on those issues. Whether it's the connection of housing supply to affordability, whether it's the need of our businesses to have customers, whether it's the core fact that the reparations program that we're so proud of in this community is here to address the evils of deliberate segregation, which in fact was enforced in part by our zoning code. Whether it's addressing sustainability by making sure that the community is walkable and has density near transit. On each of these issues, solving the problem has at its root getting this process right. And so I am genuinely overcome to see so many people in this room to help us get this right. I know that we will only get this right if we get it together, if we do it together. And I know that a lot of people who know a lot about different of these areas are committed to making sure that we educate each other and tear down those silos so that we make comprehensive and holistic decisions that are truly wise and sound. So to begin this evening, we have presentations from a few community members who have been working in very, very deep ways on some of these issues. I want to begin by introducing and welcoming to the podium Michelle Redfield. Michelle is a co-chair of the Evanston Environment Board, deeply engaged volunteer and deeply engaged in her day job on sustainability and climate action. also a co-star in a film that you've recently viewed, and someone who's really important in the climate work we do here in the city of Evanston. Please join me in welcoming Michelle Redfield to the podium.
Thank you, guys. I don't know about co-star. I don't really like being in the spotlight, but I am Michelle Redfield. As Mayor Biss said, I am a member, a co-chair of the Evanston Environment Board. I've been about a 40-year-long resident of the city of Evanston, and I really do care deeply about the health and betterment of this community. I did join the Evanston Environment Board because I'm a corporate environment, sustainability, safety leader. And I've been passionate on this topic for a long time. My degree was environmental engineering. I worked for the US EPA for a while, and I went into the Peace Corps. I lived in Africa for a while, kind of combining the environment and the people stuff, right? So joined the board to help the goals of reducing the impacts of climate change on our community and wider, and also to support and protect our natural systems. So I guess there was some questions on there about what do we love about Evanston, right? And I think we heard a lot of what we all love and take for granted and appreciate about Evanston. And when I think about Evanston, I think it's like kind of everything. It's this wonderfully diverse community with diverse people, with diverse businesses. We've got a university, we've got a lakefront. We kind of have it all. I think we're really spoiled. And I think it's also something I love about Evanston is we're a messy community. It's not like we're complicated. We have a lot of contradictions. We're not really very easygoing. We all have a lot of opinions and we want to make them heard, right? And they don't always, coalesce into a single one. I think that's what makes us stronger. I also love that we're old. We're an old community. And yet you heard, we're really pushing boundaries and we're striving to do what's right for all the community members at the same time that we have a nice old history. So, one opportunity to improve Evanston over the next 20 years was a question I was asked, and I think it's right here. It's in front of us. My passion is to make sure that we do incorporate the key elements and all the goals and objectives of the climate action and resilience plan that we already have in place for the city, that we make sure all that is incorporated into our comprehensive plan and more, right? So I guess who here doesn't want to work or live and work in a healthy and resilient community, right? Who here doesn't want to live in a community that prioritizes both people and the environment? So in my corporate role, I'm really familiar with competing priorities, right? And usually the approach to competing priorities is, well, either we can do that or we can do that. So you might think either we can meet our climate action and resilience goals or we can meet our development plan goals. But in my experience, taking the yes and approach really can have a positive multiplier effect on the climate change, on reducing climate change impacts, on the health of our community, and on our business community as well. So I really advocate for Evanstonians to really get involved and help make sure that these climate action and resilience plan goals and objectives are even further taken further into the comprehensive plan that the Evanston we envision for 2045. And when we do that, it's going to be, we are going to continue to live. Our children and our grandchildren are going to continue to live in a thriving and growing community.
Thank you so much, Michelle. The next speaker I want to bring up, I made reference to the connection, in my view, which is very deep between this work and our reparations program. Our reparations efforts were really jump-started by research that was spearheaded by the Shorefront Legacy Center that forced us to come to grips, not with an abstract concept that systemic racism is out there, but that we Evanston perpetrated many of the racist acts and much of the segregation that occurred within this community. Not just, it wasn't just around, it was something the city government did. And being honest about that has been, of course, difficult, but also necessary in order to take the morally critical step of beginning to repair the harm that we did. So the Shorefront Legacy Center, I think, is a absolutely critical gem in this community, and one that has provided so much value and will continue to do so. And I think that work is really relevant, deeply relevant to the project that we're engaging in and embarking on tonight. And so I would like you all to join me in welcoming the Executive Director of the Shorefront Legacy Center, Laurice Bell, to share some words with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurice Bell, also known as the new Dino Robinson, and I'm the Executive Director at Shorefront Legacy Center. I have a passion for racial justice, Evanston, and storytelling, and I am lucky that the work I do incorporates all three. I was born in Chicago, but grew up in Evanston. I attended Dewey, Nichols, and ETHS. And while I moved to to Los Angeles in 1988, I never really left Evanston as my family still lived here. My father owned a record store in downtown Evanston called Laurie's Records, and my children think of Evanston as their second home. All that and back and forth in 2019, I'm still in the 19, but 2019, I ended up starting a podcast with my colleague Ron Whitmore called Evanston Rules that we still do today. And we tell the story of Evanston through our perspective of growing up in the 70s and 60s and a lot of the things that weren't equitable then that we find are not equitable now. In 2021, I made it official and moved back from California. I'm back here because I love Evanston. I don't always love the realities of Evanston, but I love the possibilities of this city. When Evanston acts as it can in an aspirational way, its possibilities are inspirational. But more than anything, it has always been my home. I don't just feel it, I live it. Wherever I go, I see someone I know. This town is big. This big town is my small community. The relationships are deep. Is that for me? And I love the feeling of a community. What I hope for Evanston is that everyone feels the way I do about my city, that they are part of a diverse, welcoming, and interesting community. But what I see is that my people, the Black population, continue to leave Evanston. They do not feel seen, respected, and welcome in many spaces. As Isabel Wilkerson, the great journalist and author of Caste, once said, people leave when life becomes untenable where they are. So we have to look at what is untenable. We have to see we have created separate and segregated spaces, and I want to see that change. Believe it or not, zoning can help. Zoning is often something that does not matter to a lot of people yet. Zoning is key to whether a city is considered an open or closed space to people. It is the difference between including or excluding them. So we have the chance through zoning to make Evanston a place that is welcoming, not just via its words, which can often be a facade, but via its actions. We need to act like a community and work together to bring about this important change. We are called to that, as Wilkerson also told us. You must leave this world a better place than it would have been if you had not existed. And through these zoning changes, we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laurice. I want to remind folks, if anyone is in need of Spanish language translation, we're so fortunate to have a translator in the back. Thank you very much for your help with this evening. And we are committed throughout this process to figure out every possible way to meet people where they are. So we are interested in making sure that non-English speakers have equal opportunity for participation. We want to make sure that individuals with disabilities have equal opportunity. We're going to have moments for families with young children. And if you think of a community or a group of people within Evanston for whom the engagement process that you are seeing unfold isn't quite adequate, just let us know. Our commitment is to make this a welcoming conversation where every single person in this community can be heard. Because again, I think success in this effort relies on two things. It relies on getting a good outcome, which we can only do with everyone's wisdom. And then it relies on implementing that, sticking to the plan, which we can only do with everyone's buy-in. And so across the board, we want everyone to be a part of this. By the way, we are writing this plan, Envision Evanston 2045, thinking about 2045, a moment in time where I expect not to be mayor any longer. We're writing this plan for the future. So we better be writing it with the youth at the table. And so it is really a pleasure to welcome the next person to the microphone. For those of you who don't know Olivia Olson, you will. Olivia is a leader in our youth advisory committee here at the city. She is an extraordinary student at ETHS. She is a founder of, I think now, 3 different businesses. She is an activist. She's an organizer. Honestly, when you hear her entire bio read out loud, you assume that like somebody forgot to include the names of the 6 other people that were being covered by those descriptions. But she's just an incredible young leader in the community, and I hope you'll join me in giving a very warm welcome to Olivia Olson.
Good evening, everyone. Hi, my name is Olivia Olson, and I'm an ETHS junior, so pardon my lateness, but I was preparing for ETHS's Black Summit, which is tomorrow, and it was very stressful. But anyway, I'm a City of Evanston Youth Advisory Board member, and I have a passion for community service. So I run, as Mayor Biss said, I run several nonprofit projects in Evanston. And under my umbrella organization, OSOE Projects, I distribute hygiene kits to those in need, teach girls and kids of color golf, and raise money for breast cancer research and patient care. I've lived in Evanston since I was 2 months old, and I really do love this city, especially in my high school years. I've come to know the city better through being on the Youth Advisory Committee, and it's taken me to every single ward, meeting all types of people, and it's really taught me how much the city has to offer. And like, I read the news, our city isn't perfect, but I think that what makes our city special, and one of the things I love about it most, is I feel that all the people in this community really do try to make an effort. Those who work for the city and regular individuals such as myself are truly making efforts to make the city a better place. And that's something I admire in all Evanstonians. So as it pertains to this particular project, on the surface, zoning sounds as boring as what I spent the last hour and a half doing, which was I spent the last hour and a half sorting through hundreds upon hundreds of ETHS student names and their name tags for tomorrow, alphabetizing them all. And so when Mayor Biss and others told me about this project, it sounded really boring. And I was like, oh, another City of Evanston project, you know, but I came to realize that this project is so important, especially for young people. There aren't a lot of us in this room, but especially for young people, because it's been a long time since the city has been rezoned, and it really decides what Evanston looks like and what Evanston residents get to partake in on a day-to-day basis. So it's really critical that everyone's voices are put into this project. And I think it's really nice that the city has offered it to us all, and we need to take advantage of that opportunity. So I want to make sure that youth and all people of color's voices are in this project. And to do that, we really have to put our energy into it, and we have to show up in the places where we need to be. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the future, and I'm looking forward to coming back to Evanston after I hopefully go to college. And like through my time at Evanston, I've realized how many people leave this city and come back. And there's a reason why people come back. And I feel like a lot of times kids my age are like, Evanston, I just want to get out of this place. Like, I've been here for so long and everyone loves it. And it's just so boring here. But I think that they're missing the mark. And the point is, we have a community that really cares, that really tries, that puts the effort forth. And there's really no other place like it. So I'm hoping that more kids my age will want to come back here. And I think that this is possibly a step in that direction, making the community something that they'll want to come back to. So thank you all for being here. And I really hope that you put your piece into this so that this can be something that the whole community is a part of. So thank you.
I should say as a side note that when I called Olivia to ask her to do this, you know, I had this naive idea that I would call and, you know, I'm the mayor and she's a high school student and she'd say yes. And instead, she did what every good organizer does. She had a one-on-one conversation with the mayor, and so she interrogated me a little bit. Are we going to have opportunities for everyone to participate? Are you going to invite people in after this first event? Or are you just going to put on a show in one event for the sake of saying you did it? She asked all the right questions to make sure the entire community's voice was heard. And I'm glad that I passed the test and that you're here, but I'm also glad that you're pushing to make sure that we do this right. So enough out of me. As you can tell, this is unbelievably meaningful to me, very exciting to me, and I think unbelievably meaningful to the whole community. We have around the room a number of boards set up on easels. Each of those easels will be experts, some community leaders in a volunteer capacity, some whose day job is outside of the city working on these issues, some who work for the city. And I would just ask you now to spend some time at each of those boards in conversation, beginning to formulate some ideas, to ask some questions, to make some suggestions. Again, at any time, go to envisionevanston2045.com to share views there. You can also come up to the table here and share additional suggestions with staff. I want to stress for the 500th time, this is an initial meeting kicking off a lengthy and in-depth engagement process. We are beyond thrilled to have you in on the ground floor. And we ask for your input. We ask for your blunt comments. We ask for your tough questions. We ask you to bring your friends and neighbors next time. And we know that together we can do an extraordinary job here and build a plan and a zoning code that will give us the Evanston we need. Thank you so much.